Good evening, everyone. We'd like to go ahead and get started. If you can come in, have a seat, please. We're ready to get started then. I want to say good evening, Lake County voters, and welcome to the Port LaBelle political rally. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones. Is that better? Yes. Okay. Before we get started, I'd like everyone to take just a moment and silence your cell phones, please, any other devices that you may have. The Supervisor of Elections Office personnel is here tonight. You see them here in the front row and over to your left, where they can register voters, help you update your signature, or help you change your political party or address. You can also order a vote by mail ballot. Make sure you see them if you have any questions or concerns. We want to begin tonight's meeting with prayer. Gail?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you and praise you for all your many blessings. We ask that you be with the candidates, the people that are here that are listening to what the candidates have to say. Give them the wisdom to make the choice that is best for our county. And we ask that you would give everyone safe traveling mercies home. And we want to again tell you how much we love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Will everybody please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, we will allow each candidate to give a 3-minute speech. The candidates will be given a warning by the timekeeper when they have 1 minute left. Our timekeeper's right here. She'll hold a blue sign. 1 minute. When your 3 minutes are up, you will need to terminate your speech. At the end of the night, we will present questions to the candidates. All candidates that are asked a question will be asked to answer to the best of their ability. No one will be targeting any candidates. All questions will be in writing and asked by the moderator. The questions should be related to the position. There will be no personal or slanderous questions asked. If you want to ask a question, please make sure that you have it written down and give it to the elections office personnel. This evening, we will begin with the School Board District 2 candidates. This will be on everyone's ballot, regardless of party. To end this race in August, one candidate will need to win by a majority vote, meaning 50% plus one vote. If no one has a majority, the top 2 highest vote getters move on to the November general ballot. This evening, we'd like to start with Kevin Bryant.
Good evening. For those who don't know me, my name is Kevin Bryant, and I am running for School Board District 2.
Loud and into the microphone. There you go.
I am a lifelong resident of Glades County, specifically in Moore-Haven, where I graduated from Moore-Haven High School. Over many years of residency in Glades County, I've held and led many fundraisers and benefits for our students, from wings to rib cook-offs, with all the benefits going to the students K through 12. In exchange, the town has had the opportunity to get together and have fun, all for a good cause. I believe in self-respect and respecting others. These are the foundations that I would like to instill in our students, as it will help see them through the right path of life. Before I go any further, I'm not a college graduate. I'm just here for the kids. If elected to school board, I would like to introduce the SWOT analysis. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. that our board will face. The SWAT program put together by the board will sit down, discuss what we think our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, what our opportunities are, and what our threats are. Use our strengths to ward off our weaknesses, use our opportunities to kick back our threats. And one last thing, not a very long speech, but my definition of mistake is something I've done that I learned from. So if you didn't vote for me 3.5 years ago, just think outside the box. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Larry Lucky II.
Good evening, everybody. I am happy to be here tonight, even if it is my 8th political rally in less than 1 month. My name is Larry Lucky II, and I am seeking the office of Glades County School Board for District 2, and I want to convince you that I am the best candidate for this position. Can everyone hear back there? Are y'all hearing? My opponents speak of budget experience, but I'm the only one who has worked with school budgets. As a principal for 18 years, I manage school and federal budgets, securing and allocating funds effectively. These federal budgets are crucial to small and rural districts. As a school board member, I will use my real experience to ensure taxpayers get the most for their tax dollars. I am passionate about supporting students with special needs. With over 20% of our Glades students having some type of special learning need, I understand that plans need to be secured, in place, and monitored for effectiveness. I did this for 18 years as a principal. And when I was an enrichment teacher for every child in my school, I did this for every special needs student in the school. I have a strong understanding of the need and the process for school improvement, as I have developed state-approved school improvement plans for 18 years. These plans always had components that included input from parents, teachers, students, and the community. My school improvement experience will help the board in district goal setting and reaching those goals. I have a wide range of knowledge about curriculum, having taught every level from pre-K all the way up to high school. I'm the only candidate with this experience, and I'll work closely with teachers in their review of proposed curriculum that school boards must ultimately approve or disapprove. I know how to secure necessary materials to support our teachers and enhance classroom success. I've also created and maintained district and site-level technology plans, ensuring our technology meets local needs and is kept up to date. As I have already retired as a full-time educator of 35 years, I have the time, energy, and dedication to serve as your full-time school board member. And I will work diligently to provide an opportunity for students to receive a high-quality education, which will enable them to succeed in their vocational career or college and life. I invite you to talk with me or review my literature for more details. Please keep in mind, that's it? Somebody dared me to say this. Make Tuesday, August 20th, your lucky day.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Our next candidate is Carrie West.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and stakeholders of Glades County. My name is Carrie West, and I am a candidate for your Glades County School Board District 2. I am very unique from my other opponents. First and foremost, I have 4 daughters. 3 are currently still within the school setting. This allows me to have firsthand experience within our school system on a parent and a student level. I am naturally invested in our students in Glades County to make sure they receive the education that they deserve. My advocacy for our students always comes first. Also, this allows accountability by having someone with oversight who has a personal stake in seeing positive outcomes for our students. Secondly, I have finance experience needed on our school board. I am bringing 13 years of finance on a government and a private sector level. I started my career at the Glades County School Board, then I moved to the Board of County Commissioners with the Clerk of Courts, and then to the Glades Correctional Development Corporation. I have experience creating budgets, making budget cuts, abiding by state statutes, and I have been through many quarterly and yearly audits. I can assure you that your tax dollars will be allocated correctly. Lastly, I have switched careers to finish a teaching degree in exceptional student education. While I work in a classroom setting, these students are the most amazing students that you will ever find, and there is not enough support for them. Everything that I have said allows me to have firsthand knowledge to serve as your next school board member. And I would love to have your vote and allow my passion for our staff, students, and parents work for you and bridge our communities. Please vote Carrie West, August 20th, 2024. Thank you.
Okay, there's an audio problem in the back, so let's turn this off and see. I know y'all are gonna hate this.
They're bringing another speaker in.
I paid high money for the seat.
It's VIP days, but I'm sorry. Can you hear better now?
No.
I'll turn your hearing aids up then.
You gotta talk into that one. Yeah, they got a pipe.
It's not on there.
Worse than it was.
Did she turn it off?
How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Does turning the fan off help you guys?
No, the fan didn't have nothing to do with it.
How about that? Is that better?
Why don't you just move the fan?
Close. How about you guys in the back? Can you hear?
They're getting
Will y'all
Melissa's,
come into this and fill some of these
Melissa's
chairs
getting
in?
another speaker.
It's the fans back here, so you can't hear it over the fan.
Well, we got somebody coming that's gonna hook up a different thing to make it louder. So one of the guys here, I just called Melissa, and she's sorry, she's gonna
Can we have a 5-minute break? We're gonna work on.
Is that okay with you guys? 5-minute break till we can get this audio
If you turn the fan back on.
issue fixed.
Okay, next we have, next I want to say, our School Board District 3 Jean Prowat retained her seat unopposed, so congratulations, Ms. Prowat. Next race up will be Superintendent of Schools. This race will be decided in August and will appear on everyone's ballot, no matter what your political party is. Our first speaker is Dr. Alice Beth Barfield.
Be careful. She's on the one sitting in the back.
Halloween, can you hear me in the back? All right. All right. Halloween is in 91 days. Thanksgiving is in 119 days. Christmas is in 146 days. The election is in how many days? 19. However, there are 2 other dates that are very important and everyone should have. One is your birthday and mine is December 8th. And the other is knowing the reason why you were born. And the date of that for me was the day I became an educator. I became an educator through growing up in Moorhaven. I went to Moorhaven schools, elementary through high school. I graduated in 1990 from Moorhaven High School. So I'm a proud product of the Moorhaven school system. Besides holding a doctorate degree in organizational leadership, being a state certified superintendent, there's one characteristic I possess that I feel makes me a great superintendent, and that is that I'm quick on my feet. It started when I was a little girl and I was working in my grandparents' peach orchard stand in Georgia. And there was a man that came up to me and he asked me, he said, ma'am, I'd like to buy this half of this peach. And I said, sir, we don't sell a half of a peach. And he said, oh, but I only want a half. And he kept on, so I ran as quick as I could to my grandparents, and I wasn't paying attention to who was around me. And so I said to my grandparents, I said, this jerk behind me is over there, he wants only buy half of a peach. And I said, and I don't know what we sell a half of a peach for. And so when I looked on my side of my vision, I saw that the man had followed me. And so I quickly said, but this nice man wants to buy the other half. So being in politics, a lot of times you have to be able to be quick on your feet. And being a superintendent, that is no difference. At this point, I'd like for everyone to close their eyes, and I'd like for you to point in the direction of south. Everybody just point south. So if you now open your eyes and you look, everybody's direction is different, because being in a superintendent, you have to not only know which direction you're going, but you have to know when people don't know which way south is, or north, east, or west, how to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a person that can get it done. I am someone that is results oriented. Glades County has made great strides. Are there issues in the schools? There's going to be issues in any organization where there's students, because we're always changing. We're always doing what's best for kids. I'm asking for your faith. I'm asking for your support when you do cast your vote. Have a wonderful evening. And I want to say this too. Thank God for career and technical education, because that's how we get people that can fix air conditioners. Have a good evening.
Next, we have Celinda Langdale.
I brought this speech up here with me, but I will not be reading it, because I am not taking 3 minutes of your time, because it is hot in here. And if I'm hot, y'all have got to be sweltering, because my thermostat does not work. I am Celinda Langdale, and I am running for superintendent of schools. I am a product of Hendry County Schools. I graduated in '89, but I moved to Moore Haven in 1990 and started in 1997 at Moore Haven Elementary and Moore Haven High School as a substitute teacher. I worked my way all the way up to be a principal, and I have done everything else in between, from paras to teacher to bus driver. Boys varsity soccer for 5 years. I knew this much going in and knew about that much coming out, but those boys had fun, and I hauled them all around this state. I've also been an assistant principal at the high school, and those are my favorite kids. I love the older kids. I have my master's in education, and I want to be the next superintendent of Glades County Schools. So vote August 20th for Celinda Langdale.
Thank you. Next up will be county judge candidates. This will be on everyone's ballot, and to end this race in August 1st. One candidate will need to win by a majority vote, meaning 50% plus one vote. If no one has a majority, the top two highest vote getters move to the November general ballot. So first, I'd like to ask Carly Brook to come forward.
I guess this is as far from the podium as I'm going to get. Good evening, folks. I'm Harley Brook, and I'm running for Glades County Judge. When it comes to the Glades County Judge position, it's really about diverse experience. For the last 27 and a half years, Judge Lundy has handled and presided over every single case under the sun, whether it was criminal, civil, any case whatsoever, including family law, which is the biggest part of the civil docket. I present that diverse experience, and I bring it to the table to be your next Glades County Judge. Over the last 22 plus years, I have been a prosecutor right here in Glades County. I've been a criminal defense attorney. I've been a family law attorney. I've run my own firm. I've handled different kinds of civil cases. And I've actually sat on the bench right here in Glades County as a traffic hearing officer for the better part of 3 years, presiding over thousands of cases. In fact, of the candidates that are running for Glades County Judge, I present some unique qualities and experience. One is that I am the only candidate running for Glades County Judge that has been both a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney. I've argued for and against motions and cases, both as a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney. That has allowed me some unique perspectives on both ends of the spectrum. I'm also the only candidate running for Glades County Judge that has actually sat on the bench in Glades County, again, presiding over thousands of cases. Throughout the course of 22 plus years, I've had different jobs that have brought me to where I am today and have made me the most qualified and prepared candidate to be your next county judge. But I am here standing before you today applying for my last job. If you give me the honor of being the Glades County Judge, I want to make this my retirement job. I'm not going anywhere else. This has been my dream for 20 plus years. Since I was a young prosecutor and I went into Judge Lundy's office and I told him, I want to be a judge here someday. But not until you retire, Judge. Again, ambitious, not stupid. But one of the greatest honors that I have had bestowed upon me is the endorsement from Donna Storter-Long. And the reason that this is so important to me is not only because of who the person that she was and what she represented to this county, but especially because I know that her endorsement came with a lot of research. She got to know me as a professional and as a person. And only after that did she provide her endorsement to me. Folks, all these candidates running for position here in Glades County love the county. But I urge you to do your homework. Do your research and vote for the candidate that is the most qualified, the most prepared, and has the most diverse experience. On August 20th, I ask for your vote, Harley Brook, for Glades County Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Will Dorman.
How's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to start my speech by introducing myself the same way I've introduced myself when I'm doing a criminal jury trial. Hi, my name is Will Dorman, and I represent the state of Florida and the people of Glades County. And for the past 13 years, I've represented the people of Glades County as your assistant state attorney. During that time period, I've had a hand in prosecuting every criminal case that has come through here, everything from driving without a license to murder and everything in between. And during that time period, I'm one of only 2 attorneys who have had a full-time staffed office here in Glades County, with the other being Judge Lundy. Now, after 28 years of serving the people in Glades County, Judge Lundy is retiring. And at this time next year, there's going to be a new judge presiding over cases in Glades County. And I believe that that should be someone who knows this county and someone who's served the people of this county for the past 13 years. During that time period, I've done my best to protect this county from defendants who have committed crimes and to give victims the justice that they deserve. I've worked closely with law enforcement to make sure that cases were thoroughly and fully investigated, that the best case was put forward to the jury, and that only defendants who were guilty beyond a reasonable doubt were prosecuted. As the only prosecutor assigned to Glades County during that time period, it was my responsibility to make sure that everybody who interacted with the criminal justice system was treated fairly, honestly, and with respect. And those are ideals that I believe in and that I would carry over if elected as your next county court judge. I believe that everybody, whether it be a witness, a juror, a victim, or a defendant, should be treated fairly, should be treated honestly, they should be treated with respect, and they should have the opportunity to be heard in the courtroom. Now, for the past 13 years, I've had the opportunity to learn from a great judge in Judge Lundy, someone whom I consider a mentor. My office has been right down the hall from his, and I've had the opportunity to go talk to him about legal issues and life in general. During that time period, I've taken advantage of that, and I've gotten to not only learn about other types of law, but about being a judge and the temperament required to be a judge in Glades County in general. I will definitely be sad to see him retire, but I'm running because I know I am the right person to try to fill those shoes. Why am I the right person? Well, that's linked to the question answer to another question. Why am I running for the position of Glades County Judge? It's not because I went to law school and decided that I was going to shape my career to be a judge somewhere someday. I don't want to be a judge just anywhere, but rather after 13 years of serving the people of this county and of these communities, I have developed a love and a deep respect for this county and for the people of these communities. And so that's why I'm going to be asking for your support and for your vote on August 20th for Will Dorman for Glades County Court Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Sullivan.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for moderating. And I'm a little soft-spoken, so a special thanks to the person who fixed the sound system tonight. Appreciate that. My name is Richard Sullivan. I'm running for Glades County Judge. I'm running to put 25 years of my legal experience to work for the citizens of Glades County. Like the other candidates, I have a lot of criminal law experience and a lot of courtroom experience. I've done well over 100 trials. I've done dozens of adoptions. I've done countless family law cases. I don't know how many dependency cases I've done, but it's a lot. If any of you, though, end up in a courtroom, you're going to need a judge that understands things like probate proceeding, guardianships, maybe a Marchman or Baker Act. You're not likely to be there for a criminal case yourselves, but a family member might be there for a divorce or a child custody issue or a child support issue. Some of you may have that happy event in your family that there's an adoption, and it's a good idea to have a judge that understands Chapter 39 and Chapter 60 of Florida statutes. Some of you might be there because there's a delinquency accusation in the family, or there's a disruption in the family and there's a dependency case where children's interests are at stake. With neighbors, occasionally there's a small claims case with a lawsuit, or maybe even if you have a company, maybe a larger lawsuit with civil claims. Some of you will experience problems, or some of your children may experience problems where an injunction for protection is required. And a number of you in this room probably have had traffic tickets, as Mr. Brook alluded to, and understand that a judge needs to know everything from murder cases on down to traffic tickets. I'm running to put my experience to work for you because with each of these bodies of law I talked about, there are different rules involved. There are family law rules, there are small claims rules, there are traffic rules, there are dependency rules. Each of those types of rules interrelate with the other rules, and somebody has to understand that, and that takes experience. I have written the motions, I have written the petitions, I have argued them, I have written the proposed order. I have done this for 24 years. I'm ready to go to work for you. I'm asking for your vote on August 20th. My name is Richard Sullivan. I'm running for Glades County Judge. I thank you.
It's my understanding that we also have some circuit judges that are here as well. So Circuit Judge, 20th Judicial Circuit, Group 6. I'm not going to get this right. Eric. He's not here. Tracy? Red?
Trip over myself. Good evening. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for whoever hosted this. It's my first time getting to meet most of you, and I'd love to shake your hand by the end of the night. Again, my name is Tracy Red. I am running for Circuit Court Judge, and it's a little bit different than county. We cover 5 circuits as a Circuit Court Judge, which is here, Glades, Collier, Charlotte, and Lee counties. So we have a lot of area to cover. A little bit about me. I have been a lawyer for 27 years, always dreamt of someday sitting on the bench, and now is the time. I look forward to putting my 27 years of trial experience to work on the bench. I've tried dozens and dozens of cases, from traffic infractions to death penalty cases throughout my 27 years. I've had the pleasure of working with numerous judges from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Lee County, Collier County, Charlotte County, and I've been able to observe what it takes to be a good judge. It's not just being a good lawyer. It's having a disposition that's calm,
It's having a temperament that's calm. It's being able to work under pressure and manage a courtroom. I managed my own firm since 2002. I've been in practice since 1997, but I've been in private practice since 2002. And I don't advertise. My practice is 100% word of mouth. And I haven't had to advertise, and I'm proud of that, that the clients that I have trust me enough to refer me business over and over and over 22 years now. And I want to have that same respect in the legal community as a judge as well. I am pretty well known over in Lee and Collier and Charlotte counties. I want to become known here as well, to have a good temperament, to have the skills that it takes to manage a courtroom in order to manage not just a caseload, but bailiffs and clients and caseloads. This takes some talent to be able to do that. And I think running my own firm and being a business owner for 22 years gives me a good standing there. Again, Tracy Red, August 20th, please vote for me for Circuit Court Judge, and I hope to meet each and every one of you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Circuit Judge, 20th Judicial Circuit, Group 28. Michael Colombo?
I was going to dance for all of you. My name is Michael Colombo. I am running for Circuit Court Judge. I have been a lawyer for over 2 decades. I've been a trial attorney. I've practiced in Connecticut. I'm bar licensed Connecticut, Georgia, here in Florida. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I moved here over 10 years ago, and I became a prosecutor here after working for the Department of Homeland Security. After 9/11, I wanted to protect our borders. As a lawyer in Connecticut, I worked for the state attorney's office up there. I worked in private practice handling civil cases, handling criminal cases, all kinds of cases. I went to the Connecticut Supreme Court. I argued one case on behalf of a firefighter for discrimination because they wouldn't let him take a promotional test. I've done it all. I've seen it all, over 100 trials. In 2009, the Department of Homeland Security asked me to work for them as a special agent. I had top secret clearance. I decided to do that to defend our country. I did that for 3 years. In 2010, I worked on the 2010 Times Square bombing case in New York. I handled all types of cases, from human trafficking, child exploitation, drug trafficking, everything, you name it, I saw it. I came to sunny Southwest Florida to be near my wife and her family after being injured. I have 2 fake hips. Part of that was because I was a college wrestler, but part of it was because of that duty belt that you all carry in law enforcement. So I got injured and came down here. I worked for the state attorney's office here for over 10 years. I was assigned to the Special Victims Unit for multiple years, where I handled serious cases involving sex crimes against children, elderly, you name it. I sent multiple people away for life sentences on some of those cases. Since that time, I worked in private practice. And in private practice, I represent people who are charged with serious crimes, some of which could face life in prison. Our law firm represented, if you've heard of the January 6th event up in Washington, D.C., has anybody heard of that? Our law firm represented some of the J6ers because it is their constitutional right to a fair trial. So we've done it all. The firm I work at, myself, I'm also on the Florida Bar Professional Ethics Committee. I believe that is important. Integrity is important. The last thing I'll tell you about myself is I believe in the Constitution. It protects every single one of us in this room. Everybody is protected by that Constitution. Look at those Bill of Rights, 1 through 10. It protects every single one of you in this room. I will uphold it. I will defend it. I have protected it. 17 years ago, can I finish this last thought? 17 years ago, my son was born. His middle name on his birth certificate is justice. I believe in justice for all. Thank you. Vote Colombo. And lastly, we're not running against each other. Myself and the other young lady that was here, Tracy Red, we're in two different races. Just want everybody to know that.
Is Elizabeth Pryor here by chance? Okay. All right, let me go back to my notes. Okay, next are the County Commission district seats. These will appear on every ballot. Seat 1, 2, and 3 will be decided in August. Seat 2 is for a 2-year term to fill the seat vacated by the passing of Donna Storter Long. County Commission District 1, George Humphreys.
This is like an obstacle course, boy. Hey, I'm George Humphreys. For those of you who don't know me, I had to look out here and see how many people I really recognize since I've been in the front. But anyhow, I was born in Avon Park. I went to school in Moorhaven, graduated in 1975. So I wanted to become a county commissioner to help the county. I've lived here because I wanted to live here. I've raised 2 daughters here. Me and my wife have been married for 35 years. So what I think about what we're doing is we need code enforcement. You ride around this county, it doesn't look like it used to. In Moorhaven, we had 4 restaurants when I graduated. From 1980 on, this place has went downhill. And you can't fix a problem with the same thought process you had when you created it. So you need some new thought processes. They all talk about what they're going to do with money. Well, if we don't generate commercial taxes and industrial taxes, you don't have any money. Because when we were in Muse and listened to Wilton Simpson speak, he said that for every dollar we collect in ad valorem taxes, it costs us $1.50 to pay it back to the people. So where does our 50 cents come from? It's got to come from ad valorem taxes, commercial taxes and industrial taxes. And when they talk about getting a grocery store, you're not going to get a grocery store in Moorhaven. And if you have to ask why you needed it, you don't have the intelligence to lead the county forward. Because there's $2 stores now. Before then, there's not enough people to support it in the workforce there. When people come do studies in Glades County, we don't have the workforce. The people that work at the prison out there, they come from Punta Gorda, Collier County. We have deputies from that far off. So, we need to change our thought process. I started my own industrial construction business. I like to do metal and piping, high pressure piping. I became a certified welding inspector as I got older. I went out into the oil fields. I worked for Anadarko Shell. I worked for Dow Chemical. I've worked for a lot of people. My job was to take the spec book that they had and make sure that project met the specs that those people paid for. So I have conviction in my thought process. You're not going to change my mind easily. And I'll stand up to what I do is for everybody, not somebody. And my special interest is the people of Glades County. I've been here a long time and I'm dedicated to them. Thank you.
Jeff Patterson?
How's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me back here? So, my name is Jeff Patterson. I'm running for Glades County Commission District 1. I need your support on August 20th. Most of you know me, but for those that don't, I grew up in Lakeport, graduated from Moorhaven High School in '97, enlisted in the Army. Came back after 2000, served in the 101st Airborne Division in Fort Campbell. I'm married to my wife, Tiffany, have 2 great kids. I have a bachelor's degree in organizational management from Indian River State College. I was able to get while my wife and I were both working full-time, going to college full-time, and raising 2 small kids. I serve on a lot of boards. I'm proud to serve on them. If you have any questions about them, I'll be glad to answer them. This area of our county is growing at a really rapid pace. However, we're still lagging behind in some areas. The Henry County side of Port LaBelle is outpacing us in growth and housing. Not just ownership, but rentals being built as well. We need to figure out why it's happening. Why is it so much easier to build on that side of Highway 80 than it is to build on this side of Highway 80? Is it lot prices? Is it utility hookup prices? Is it an easier building and zoning department to work with? We're not sure. We as commissioners need to make those developers and those builders want to come here and feel wanted. That's what we need. We need them to know that we're willing to help them. We all know there's a housing shortage. It's not just in Glades County, it's nationwide. I've said many times before, and a lot of people that are in here have been to meetings that I've been at, and perception is reality. If people believe that something big is happening, they want to be involved. They beg to be involved. We need to be the leaders that say we're here to help. We like being involved in projects and we want to see them go through. There's two kinds of people that make this world go round. There's people that try to make things happen for the better of everybody, and there's people that complain about the people that try to make things happen for the better of everybody. I said earlier that I do sit on a lot of boards, and I'm very proud to do that, to try to bring change and make everything better. Together we can make some great things happen here in Glades County. We just need to be all pulling in the same direction. My name's Jeff Patterson, and I'm asking for your vote on August 20th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. County Commission District 2, Jeff Barnes.
Okay, can everybody hear me in the back? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gwen Ash. I am Jeff Barnes' daughter-in-law. Unfortunately, he is out of town due to work and cannot be here tonight. He is running for Glades County Commissioner District 2. Some of you may remember him from 2022 when he ran for this position. Jeff is a lifelong resident, moving to the Glades area in the 90s. Him and his wife Jennifer have 2 children, which both attended and graduated from the Glades County school system. Both are out on their own now, but have remained in the Glades area. He also has 1 granddaughter. Jeff works for Wedgeworth and Moorhaven and is the liquid field equipment supervisor, as well as the facility safety officer. He served in the U.S. Army Marine Corps and continues to do anything to help with the veterans and service members. Jeff is involved in several associations in the county. He is the vice commander for the American Legion in Moorhaven and is proud to have been a part in getting it reopened. He is also the president of the Ortona Community Association and the president of the Glades County Hunt Club. He is on the board for the Glades County Youth Livestock and enjoys assisting with the youth and their animals. Glades County is changing and we are seeing housing going in and people moving our way. Growth is needed in Glades County, but controlled growth so that we maintain our Glades County way of life. Jeff has never been strong into politics and has never considered himself to be a politician, just the average working resident in Glades County, but wanting to do more. He really enjoys getting out and getting involved in the community. He promises, if elected, to do his best for the county and residents here, bringing your concerns forward. He ran in 2022 and lost by just a few votes. He is seeking your support and vote on August 20th. Vote Jeff Barnes. Thank you.
And this is Porter Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Porter Walker. I'm running for County Commissioner District 2. I was born and raised right here in Glades County, grew up in Ortona in District 2. Just like everyone else, I love this county. I've been here my whole life, and the home that I built in 2004 is where I will retire until I expire. In 1993, I went into law enforcement. I worked in law enforcement until 99. During that same time, I also put in approximately 10 years with the Ortona Volunteer Fire Department. The reason I'm telling you that is I have been involved with the county since 1993. I know how the counties work. Since 99, I went to work for Golf Agronomics. When I started with that company, we had 4 employees. This year, we surpassed 75 employees, and we're in 5 different states. Whenever I started there, I started as operations manager, and I was the lowest operations manager there. I was on a piece of equipment every day. I was the boss, but I was a working boss. I worked my way all the way up to state manager, all the way up now until I was promoted a few months ago to COO of the company. I've got experience budgeting, leading, working with people. I've been doing it for 25 years. I would like to put those skills to work for Glades County, for the citizens of Glades County, to make sure your voice is carried to the county commission board and heard off that board through me. I'll stand behind the people of Glades County, and I'll always look out for them. I was born here, and this is the place I want to be. If you'll take into consideration August 20th to vote for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. County Commissioner, District 3, DJ McLaughlin.
Good evening. My name is DJ McLaughlin. I live in the Muse area out here off of Kirby Thompson Road. My wife Robin and I have lived in Central and Southwest Florida for a little over 30 years. I've worked in commercial construction for over 54 years and been a cattle producer for 60 years. Even though I spent my whole career in construction, my major in college was animal science, and I'm fortunate that I have those roots as well. Currently, and for the last 4 years now, I've been vice president of the Muse Community Association. For 2 years now, I've been president of the Muse Area Republican Club. I have been involved with the Republican Executive Committee for the state of Florida for 31 years. I mentioned about my experience in commercial construction. Probably the last 40 years of it has been in a very executive level, making big decisions on budgets and managing specialty divisions and regional offices and having to develop budgets and then live within those budgets. And these, along the way, you put a lot of tools in your tool chest that you could use working, doing the people's work as a Board of County Commissioner. So I have a vision, and by the way, there's several goals. I hope nobody will leave tonight without getting the copy. I'm one of the folks that will tell you what I want to see different in county government. But a few of those things would be to see the county commission run more business-like. And if you did that, if you're working in the private sector, you're going to comply by the rules of the organization you're working with. Well, as a county commissioner, you need to comply with state statutes and local rules. In many cases, that's just not happening. I would like to see the State Road 74 turned back over to the state. It's an absolute mystery how the county ever ended up with a road that once was maintained by state facilities. It needs to be again. We just spent $184,000 out there on that road just doing less than a half a mile or so of actual patchwork. In closing, I'd like to share the vision that we'd like to see the county just be less wasteful with its spending, and because there's plenty of places we need to be spending the money, and we can do that if we're less wasteful. So everybody's talking about voting on August 20th. There's a lot of people that have already voted. There's some that's going to vote over the next few days. So don't wait till August 20th to vote for DJ McLaughlin, District 3 County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Next you have Jerry Gator-Sapp.
Good evening, Port LaBelle voters. Thank y'all for allowing us to be here tonight. I am Jerry Gator-Sapp. I've lived in Glades County since I was a teenager, and I plan to be here until my family puts me in a nursing home. I've been married to the love of my life, Evelyn Dorman Sapp, who grew up in Moorhaven for 54 years. We have 2 beautiful married daughters and 4 wonderful grandchildren. And I want all of you to get to meet Evelyn tonight, because once you know her, you'll like me a lot better. I'm not going to stand here and make you a bunch of promises that I can't keep, because many times circumstances beyond our control prevent that from happening. I'm not going to stand here and argue all the issues that the county has, because we would be here all night. But what I will promise you, that I will always be available for the citizens of this county to hear your ideas, your suggestions, and even your complaints. And together, we can come to a reasonable solution. What I will promise you is I'm available by phone for any citizen. I will meet with you anywhere. We'll discuss whatever we need to. And I promise to give you a fair solution. I will listen to both sides of any issue before I make the decision. And I promise you to be honest with you, because I expect the same courtesy from each of you. Our county needs growth, but not to the point of abusing our gloriously natural county. The county needs businesses to raise our tax base. We need doctors, grocery stores, and believe me, prior commissioners have tried to get businesses in here. I'm trying, have been. We also need local housing and manageable utility costs, and citizens to support these businesses. There's no overnight fix for our problems, but together we can come to a reasonable solution. I ask you to vote for Jerry Gator South, County Commissioner, District 3, August the 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. County Commissioner, District 5 will only appear on the Republican ballot. The winner of this election will move forward to the November general ballot. NPA Kevin Flanagan will challenge the winner at that time. Kevin Flanagan, NPA? No? Okay, Tim Stanley.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tim Stanley. I am your current District 5 Commissioner out of Buckhead Ridge. I raised 4 children. I was born in Pompano Beach. I moved here when I was 17 years old. I grew up in Buckhead Ridge. I was a weekender before we moved here. But I've got 4 children, and they've got 7 grandchildren. 5 of them still live in Buckhead Ridge, and I want to keep this county as clean and safe as it was for me when I grew up. I used to swim in the canals in Buckhead, and it's getting a little dirty now, but I would love for that to be my grandkids to have the same opportunity that I did. As a commissioner for the last 12 years, we've had a balanced budget, and we've lived within that budget. When we came in, I thought we were going to change everything when I was elected, but I found out very quick that you can't raise taxes in this community. So they give us a budget, and that's the services that we have to live with. So we have a lot of new growth. This county is a beautiful county. We need to keep the growth within the communities that are already there. We don't need to expand all over the place. That's the biggest problem in this county now. It's all spread out. We can't take every what we got. Buckhead Ridge and Port LaBelle is kind of like the same thing. You rely on mutual aid from Henry County. We rely on mutual aid from Okeechobee, because we're not big enough to have the services. But we have 2 big developments coming in one's in Buckhead, one's in Lakeport. That's going to bring development in, and it's going to bring in money that we can bring you the services, and you won't have to rely on all these mutual aid anymore, because the taxes will come in, and it also may even be able to lower your taxes. So there is growth coming. They're supposed to build a grocery store in Buckhead Ridge. They're supposed to build a grocery store in Lakeport with these 2 communities. We just need another community out here that's going to build you a grocery store. But you're not that far from LaBelle, and Buckhead Ridge really ain't that far from Okeechobee. So there's big issues with being so close to other things that the services it's hard to promote a grocery store when you already got one so close. But we are, the county is growing. There's a lot of bad things being said, but you have a balanced budget. This county is growing, and it's going to get better every day. I'm telling you that, because just with these 2 developments alone, it's going to double our ad valorem taxes. So there's great things coming. Anyway, vote for me August 20th. Thank you. Tim Stanley.
Thank you. Next is Jude Taylor.
Stu Taylor. I'm running for District 5 County Commissioner. We hear things are coming, things are growing. Buckhead, they've been working on development out there for more than 8 years. Back when Glenn Harvey had it. Nothing ever came of it. Now we got the cart before the horse, and we're trying to figure out how to put the horse back in front of the cart. We have to be proactive in our county and not reactive, and that's our biggest problem. That's been our problem with our county commission since I've been here. For 12 years, my opponent said he served. In that 12 years, I've seen fire departments close. Dollar General's come in. Dollar General's going to come in whether they want them to or not. Just like the Loves. The Loves was coming in. I talked to them down at Loves. EDC had nothing to do with Loves coming in. They were coming in regardless. They had the money, they had the attorneys, they had the power. So the reality of it is this. You can do all you want, but if your infrastructure stinks, it stinks. And when you look at our roads are deplorable. There's money there to fix them. We haven't had a 5-year plan in 7 years. You can't run on a 5-year plan and say we're just rolling it over from 7 years ago. That makes absolutely no sense. Doesn't make sense in business, and the government should be run just like the business. We have to look at what we're doing and how we're missing out on so much stuff in our county because we're too busy worried about everything else. When you sit back and you look at it, we spent 4 times the money on sidewalks in 5 years that we spent on roads. We spent $335,000 on roads in this county in 4 years. Jeffrey Patterson was somewhat right a few weeks ago in Lakeport. I'm going to quote Jeffrey. Sometimes you need to put fresh ideas in there, and sometimes it's time for fresh people. And that's exactly what it is. 12 years is a long time to spend there. I promise you I won't stay more than 8 because I am all for term limits. Nobody needs to be in there 12 years. This is a job interview. Your guy's been there 12 years. If you think he's done a good job in the last 12 years, then I urge you to vote for him. Otherwise, vote for me August 20th, 2024, Stu Taylor.
Thank you. The following constitutional officers are unopposed to retain their seats. Clerk of Court and Comptroller Tammy Pierce Simmons. Property Appraiser Lori Ward. Supervisor of Elections Aletris Farnham. Tax Collector Gail Jones. And I would like to say this. Congratulations, ladies, on another 4 years. The sheriff's race will be decided in the August primary and will appear on every ballot. Our first candidate is Curtis Clay Sr.
Good evening. Thank you guys for coming out and dealing with this heat tonight to listen to what we have to say. I appreciate that. About 8 years ago, Stuart Whitten decided he was going to step down as your sheriff, and at that moment in time, I was asked if I was ever interested in running for sheriff, and it made me think about it. And I said, you know what, I think I might give it a try sometime in my career. So from that point on, like I've done everything else in my life, I started preparing myself to achieve a goal I set. So I started looking at what it takes to be a sheriff, and I was kind of surprised when the qualifications were kind of not really there. Pretty much you just have to run, and if you're liked enough, you can win. And then you have to become a law enforcement officer. So I started studying and paying attention with some scholars out there that put some articles out that said these are what they thought would be some good qualities for a sheriff. And I took that checklist and I started going after it. So I went after and I got my bachelor's degree in emergency management because that is what all public safety is becoming. And I got my master's degree in criminal justice administration so I could actually be an administrator, run a budget, and give you taxpayers the best bang for your buck. So really what this is a job interview, or what I feel should be a job interview for you, the taxpayers. And I want you to take the time and look at the qualifications that all the sheriff candidates are bringing to the table. I think you should see who can move forward with the goals of Glades County. Who can take your ideas, your requests, and your needs and actually make them happen? Now, after putting that work in, I was still working for the Henry County Sheriff's Office and building my resume and gaining skills when it came to leadership. When me living in this county for over 30 years and having 7 grandbabies and 4 children in this county, I watched our county go backwards. I watched our public safety go backwards. I live on the south side of the river like many of you, and we don't see deputies very often. And like you've been heard tonight, it's Henry County Sheriff's Office that normally responds to our calls for service. That's a problem that I can guarantee you I plan on fixing when I get elected as your sheriff. You're going to ask us a lot of questions tonight. I hope you ask the important questions, and I have the answers. I have a plan. Have you seen with many of these videos, I'm here to work for you in a partnership. I need you to vote for me to give me that chance, and I will show you what I can achieve when I put my experience, my education, and my work ethic together for you. And you will see that I've done that my entire career. Thank you so much for listening to me. God bless y'all. Vote for Clay August 20th and before. Thank you.
Thank you. Our current sheriff, Dave Harden.
My God. Good evening, everybody. So if you've heard me speak before, you know how I'm going to start this. A show of hands, how many veterans we have in the room tonight. Thank you all very much for your service. Well, I'm going to begin tonight with an apology. At the Buckhead Ridge meeting, I was asked a question whether or not my finance director has a college degree. I inadvertently answered that question incorrectly. I said no. She does, in fact, have a 2-year AS degree in accounting, coupled with 32 years of service for Glades County. So we're very proud of that. Thank y'all. So I was able to attend the Florida Sheriff's Association meeting about a week and a half ago now. And at that meeting, we were awarded the Level 1 Accreditation Award, where we have begun the path to achieve a total accreditation for our agency. This means that we have engaged the process, we have gone through most of our high liabilities, and we have found to be at that level. So they awarded us that. We still have 2 more levels to go before we achieve full accreditation. This is a goal of the Florida Sheriff's Association 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, we began that trip. So with that being said, the goal of the Sheriff's Association is to have every county in the state of Florida become accredited. We'll be the first state in the nation to achieve that. We're proud of that. While I was at the conference, I was able to get an endorsement from everybody's favorite sheriff, Grady Judd. So I'm proud of that. 2.5 weeks ago, I received an endorsement from our great governor, Ron DeSantis. I thank him for that. Thank God. We also have the endorsement of, I'm running way out of time tonight. We have the endorsement of our Mira Fox, our state attorney for the 20th Judicial Circuit. As you know, the 20th Judicial Circuit is made up of Glades, Hendry, Collier, Lee, and Charlotte counties. For the last 10 years, hand running, we have achieved the lowest crime rate in the state of Florida. That's done in cooperation with our citizens. It takes a partnership to achieve that. Thank y'all. 25 years ago, I came to work in this county from Okeechobee County, where I grew up. I've been serving y'all for the last 25 years proudly, humbly, and 8 years ago, you elected me as your sheriff. That's probably the most humble night of my life. I've enjoyed being your sheriff. I look forward to being your sheriff in the 3rd term. I look for your support on August 20th. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Jeff Nunemaker.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Nunemaker. Yes, I'm running for your sheriff in Glades County. What I'm bringing to the table is 35 years of law enforcement. I started my career up in Polk County from Grady Judd. I was a corrections officer. After almost 5 years, I went through the crossovers and became a street cop for a city.
I continued my career up there, working in many different areas of the field. 2016, I retired because I took a job as Chief of Security for Alico Incorporated out of Fort Myers. After 18 months of working there, which I thought was the best job you could get, they decided they wanted to sell the ranch, and I got blessed to join the Hendry County Sheriff's Office 7 years ago next month. So I'm currently the East District Sergeant, and I live in Palmdale. My wife, Jeanette, in the very back. I have 2 children, 32 and 34, and 1 grandchild. I was planning on looking at retiring at 62. I'm 57 and a half right now. But a few years back, one of my neighbors asked me about running for sheriff, and I thought about it, and I thought about it for several months. And then I reached out to my wife and my family, my preacher, we prayed about it. More people came to me. So 18 months ago, I started this journey, signing up to be your next sheriff. I took care of some stuff at home that needed to be taken care of first, because my home does come first. And then I was able to get things taken care of to where I can back my hours down to 86 hours a pay period and start going out door to door. As of July 15th, I've been on vacation until this election is over with, so I can get out and meet people, come to these rallies, and do anything I can to make this happen. So after we're all done here, if you got any more questions, I'm gonna stick around, and please come and ask me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tico Salgado.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tico Salgado, and I'm running for Glades County Sheriff. For the last since the age of 16, I have devoted myself to Glades County for 27 years. Meaning that before even running for sheriff, I already assisted, donated, and volunteered in our community. I have 19 and a half years of law enforcement, and 17 of that's here in Glades County. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 21. She has a business in Moorhaven. My son is 17. He goes to Moorhaven School, and my youngest is 13. I've been married for 23 years, been together for 25. We had a business in Moorhaven in 2004, closed it down in 2009. We reopened another business in Lakeport in 2018, had that one to 2023. The reason why I shut it down, rent did go up. However, we did not go bankrupt. I decided to close the business so I can go door to door and not let anything hinder me back from not being able to make contact with every single person in Glades County. So far, I hit 7,268 doors. Yes, I count. And I'm excited about it. August 20th, I really need you guys to consider me for your next sheriff for Glades County. I know I kind of look young, but I'm able to do the job. I have been able to budget from $250,000 to $1 million budget. I believe right now we're at a $3.4 million with our Glades County Sheriff Office. So again, August 20th, please consider me, and hopefully I can get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. The next race will end in August with the top 2 vote winners taking the 2 seats. Only voters voting in Precinct 3 will be eligible to vote in this race. Scratch that. I wondered about that. His question. Okay. All right. This question is for Sheriff Dave Barton. Your entire dispatch staff quit and Hendry County had to take over and fill in. Why?
Glad you asked that question, wherever it came from. We did lose our dispatch staff. We had a situation with a supervisor that became toxic. By the time we found out about it, it was too late to save the crew. They left. Hendry County was gracious enough, Sheriff Steve Whidden and his staff stood up and took our calls until we could rebuild. We now have our own instructor. We are a fully certified training unit, and we're proud to say that we're back up and running hard. Does that answer the question, wherever it came from? Thank y'all.
You have the highest turnover rate in the state of Florida, yet 4 counties pay deputies less than you. Why?
Well, again, I think we covered this at the very first rally. I don't know where some of these statistics come from. I would be happy to see where they come from, but I don't know that that's the case. But I will tell you this, my admin staff and my command staff alone, I think that makes up 12 or 14 people, together have over 238 years of service to our county. That's all in Glades County. That's not counting their previous experience. So I'll put that up against anybody's number. Thank y'all.
Okay, this one is for all county commissioners. Wait, time out. Gotta get my glasses. Okay. For all county commissioner candidates. You all have proven your passion and dedication to our beautiful county. We as Glades County citizens would be lucky to have each of you as commissioners. If you are not successful in your bid, will you still participate in any means necessary to help our county move forward? So.
Absolutely. What? Speak into it more? No. Absolutely. I volunteered in this county long before I ever thought about running for politics. And I will continue to volunteer in this county. And I will continue to stay with the Republican Executive Committee and help put Glades County on the map in Tallahassee and DC, which we have done for the last 2 years successfully. So I have no plans on changing nothing. That's just the way it is.
As I spoke of before, I have been involved with the county. I have done a lot of volunteering, but just as important as volunteering is, I have always been a steward for our creek, our lake, and our intercoastal waterway. I travel around. I've been to many of rallies and stuff as far as the environmental stuff, the creek meetings and stuff like that. I missed the last one because I was at a rally. But looking out for this county has been a passion of mine. It's not something I just developed because I decided to run for county commissioner in February. I've been volunteering and I'll continue to volunteer. Nothing's going to change, win, lose, or draw.
I started volunteering for the county when I was in high school when we moved the bleachers from the football field to the rodeo arena. From the rodeo arena back to the football field. So then, once I graduated and come back from Tennessee from school, you know, they built a new show barn. I built the hog pens in it. I've redone the fence in the arena like 3 times. I don't know how many steers and dairy calves I've clipped for kids. So, you know, also in Henry County. I mean, it just goes on and on. I'm here for, I love kids. I don't care whose they are. I like kids. I really support kids and take up for them. So, you know, why would it change?
So much like you've heard everyone else say, I got out of the Army in 2000. We moved back here, back home for me. And I have been involved since then. I was involved before then. Out in Lakeport, we started Sour Orange Festival. When you're 10 years old and your dad says you're going to go pick up palm fronds out there for the festival, you go pick up palm fronds. I've been raised in a family that has always served Glades County and tried to do it as the best of their ability, and I want to continue to do that, and I have my kids doing that right now. Thank you.
You know, easy questions lead to easy answers, and all of us, not just the county commission candidates, but all of the other candidates, have and will continue to donate their time, their money for the good of the county, the good of the youth, and what have you. And of all of the boards that I've been on, Farm Bureau, Cattlemen's Association, and Youth Livestock, I'm not on the board, but all of those things, we're going to stay involved in that. Almost every community, I've offered my services as an auctioneer. I've been auctioneering since I was 7 years old. I will continue to do that. But the harder part of this question is if I'm not elected to being your county commissioner, will I keep showing up for the next 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years at those county commission meetings and keep asking those tough questions that I've been doing for the last 3.5, 4 years? And the answer is yes. And as a result of some of that, the people in Muse love me. We got line markings on the roads where we couldn't see them before. We've got big, deep dips filled in Jacks Branch Road. We've got a terrible area of the road repaved that was absolutely deplorable. There's things that I led the charge on and produced results on. And if God doesn't want me to be county commissioner, I bet he would like for me to continue as an activist, bringing good things to all parts of the county. Thank you.
I will continually be involved with this county. I'm involved with every community out here, just about. LaBelle doesn't have a homeowners meeting. I would be there if you had one. But one thing that I would tell you is that I would like to be, if I wasn't reelected, I am damn sure going to keep check on what's going on that county commission board, and I'd like to be the one that tells them, like they tell me, that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I definitely will watch that board and make sure that they're not making mistakes, because it's very easy to get up there and make a mistake. But I would definitely take care of my own community, and I would still be watching over this whole county. But I might not go to every homeowners association meeting after that, but I will still be involved.
When our 2 daughters were born, we were living in Lakeport, and they were involved in the Youth Livestock program from day one. And I'm proud to say that I helped those girls pick out calves that won grand champions several times. I've been involved with the Youth Livestock, the Cattlemen's Association, all the organizations. We used to have a Little League organization I was part of. I will continue to do that. I've been working as hard as I can to get a lot of things done that we've been criticized for. And like I said earlier, sometimes you can't, but that will not stop me. I've been trying to get stores in Glades County and out in Palmdale. I'm not having any luck. But Glades County is my home. I will be here, and I will participate in whatever anyone needs me to. I love Glades County, and I'm going to stay here. And like Mr. McLaughlin said, if the good Lord wants me in there, I'll be there. And if he doesn't want me, he will be there. That's simple.
Sheriff Hardin, this question is for you. Of all the rural counties in the state of Florida, your finance director is the only one that makes over $72,000 a year. Why?
That's a very simple question to answer. I challenge anybody to find someone that can do her job for that salary. In my opinion, she's underpaid. I appreciate what she does. She keeps us in the black and the white. There is no gray with her, and that's what it takes to run a sheriff's office successfully.
This question is for Jeffrey Patterson. Not having gone to jump school, how could you have been in 101 Airborne? Because it is a requirement to jump to be in the Airborne.
No, it's not. 101st Airborne is called the 101st Airborne Division. Okay, it's still called the 101st Airborne Division. There's still a lot of people that are in the 101st Airborne Division because that's the way the patch is made. That does not require you to go to jump school. In fact, I believe it was about 1977, 78, I'll have to check my history, that it became 101st Airborne Division AASLT, which stood for Air Assault Division, where they have the Sabaluki Air Assault School, which is the 10 hardest days in the Army. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Harden. Why does 17% of your office staff make $550,000 in pay?
How many people?
Again, I'm gonna mention about the quotes on these stats. I challenge you to show me where you find that. It may be true. I have no ability to answer that standing in front of you, but we will find out. Thank you very much.
School board and superintendent. How can you support programs for students with IEP or 504s?
There might be several of you here that don't know what those are. An IEP is an individual education plan, and that is what is needed when a student has been found to have a special need. Then that means that you write a plan for that person, and that a team comes together to decide what that child needs. After that, the principal or the director of special education has to make sure that plan is being done. It's very important that it be monitored. Now that's a lot of work when you consider that 20% of our students have some sort of need. I want to tell you what a 504 is. We call a 504 plan, it comes out of the Handicap 504 Act. It covers a lot of stuff, but in education, the 504 is how you make a modification for a child who has some type of physical need. That's a little bit different than an IEP. An IEP student could have a 504, but a 504 student does not necessarily mean that they're a special needs child. 504 means I'm writing a plan for somebody with a slight or big disability. It may be as simple as this child struggles with writing, so he's going to be allowed to print or use certain technology. So what am I going to do? Well, as a principal, I oversaw it. As a teacher, I made sure I was in compliance. As a school board member, I'm going to make sure both of those happen.
Mr. Lucky did a fantastic job of explaining all of that to you, but what I'm also going to tell you is that we have to stay on top of it. Your parents, your teachers, and your staff have to support those students and make sure every need is met according to the Department of Education on their IEP or their 504. Also, we need to find a gifted teacher from Moorhaven Elementary School and be able to bring that back so those students can have hands-on. Right now, we are teaching from Westglades through a monitor, and that just does not cut it for our gifted children. Thank you.
When I went into education, that's what I went for, was to be a special education teacher, and I did it for over 8 years. Currently, I am now an ESE specialist, and that is my job, to make sure that those kids are getting the services that they need. So that is one passion of mine that I will make sure happens, is the kids that have those accommodations and those 504s and IEPs, that those are in place. And that is one of my main goals, is to be sure that that's happening in our schools.
I think every one of the candidates that spoke did a great job of answering the question. I think what the question was is, what can I do as a superintendent to ensure that that is happening in our schools? And as a superintendent, the role is different because you're not a teacher, you're not in those classrooms. You're not a principal, you're not overseeing the classroom teacher. As a superintendent, my job is to make sure that the funding is in place and that the matrices for those students are in place to make sure that we have the services and we're able to afford the actual programs that those students need. Miss Carrie brought out a great point about the gifted students in Glades County. One thing that as a superintendent that I have to do on a daily basis is to make sure that our students are getting tested, make sure the accommodations are in place as far as are the teachers that are in those places, are they able to give the direction that is needed. So I can tell you that from a completely different side, I have 3 children. One of those children is a student that had a 504 and had special needs as far as her learning was concerned. And the very best thing that you can do as families, but as parents and as advocate for children, is to make sure that your child knows what their rights are. And that starts at an early age. In 3rd grade, my daughter was told by a teacher, why should you get to check out a book because it was a Harry Potter book? And they said, why should you be able to check out a book because you get special accommodations on testing? And my daughter said, because that's what the law says. And that's a 3rd grader. That's what needs to happen, is that we need to self-teach our children. And then as an educational system, we need to make sure that we provide the funding to do so.
Okay. This next question is for our sheriff candidates. I have heard there have been suggestions that sheriff's departments should take over code enforcement. I know all candidates are certified law enforcement officers. They have all taken an oath to uphold and obey the law. Local codes and ordinances are municipal laws. Who would like to address that first? I'm going to leave that question right there. I would like to ask this question to all 4 candidates for sheriff. I have heard there have been suggestions that sheriff's departments should take over code enforcement. I know all candidates are certified law enforcement officers. They have all taken an oath to uphold and obey the law. Local codes and ordinances are municipal laws. So I'm going to leave this right here for you all to look at.
I think I understand this question. So if the sheriff's office takes over the code enforcement, they'll be working for the sheriff's office, and it depends on how it works out. They may or may not be sworn deputies and code enforcement officers. When I was in Polk County with the city, I did investigations as a sworn police officer, and I also did the code enforcement for the township. So I was able to go out and perform both these jobs, and it actually worked out pretty well. So I'm not exactly sure if I answered this question or not.
I haven't heard a question in there yet.
Well, anyways, I think it's a great idea. If they show up in a sheriff's office uniform, the chances of a negative response is reduced. Doesn't always, because trust me, on the job, I've done my job and met negative results. But it doesn't go against the civilian code enforcement either, because they do a great job. So it's just, if you're working under the sheriff's office, a little bit more tighter accountability for that code enforcement officer, and we can ensure that code enforcements are being investigated and followed through.
Not really sure there was a question there, but let me clarify. Code enforcement and law enforcement are both enforcing laws. Okay, it's really a similar job. And the reason why we can take it underneath the sheriff's office and do something better for your county is because we can save you taxpayer dollars. But it has to be trained correctly. And there's a lot of misconceptions about how a code enforcement officer behaves and what they're going to be able to do and what a law enforcement officer is going to do. Those are 2 separate hats. So we need to understand, and we need to have the skill sets to teach our officers, our deputies, that when they're acting in code enforcement, there's a whole set of guidelines that they have to follow. And please understand that the real heart of law enforcement and code enforcement is simply compliance. We're not supposed to be bullies. It's not about trying to put everybody in jail. It's not about trying to cost people a lot of money. We're supposed to try to help work hand in hand with our community members and help them fix problems. I recently read a problem up in Buckhead Ridge. The neighbors and the people were complaining about a young man up there and the way his property looked. And he's an older person, and he says he has an arthritis situation, and you know, he had a whole reasons behind what was happening. That's a good chance for us to work together as a community, show up to that gentleman's house, help him get things established where he can handle it himself as an older gentleman, and then if it continues to be a problem, then address it. But that's part of the working with you as a community and sitting down here and working it out. So, you know, code enforcement and law enforcement are going to work hand in hand, and that's going to help us solve many of our issues. And I think the real issue you're going to look at is code enforcement is going to help us out a lot with the methamphetamine houses. Thank you.
Don't do that to me. So, I appreciate the question, and I am definitely interested in taking over animal control and code enforcement. I would want to see it as a sworn position, and I believe that working with those two entities, with our own people, number one, it would be a force multiplier. When they're not responding to something, they can answer calls if they're the closest unit to the call. Same way that we do with our traffic units. The second thing is this gives us an opportunity to target some of these drug houses. This is a foot in the door. You may be there to investigate an animal situation, you may be there to investigate a code enforcement situation, but it puts you in place to be able to see other violations. So if we can clean up the trashy areas, and I guarantee you every one of you here know one in your neighborhood, then I think it'll go a long way to saving our county. Thank you.
Pretty much everything was
Okay. This is for county commissioners. The discussion keeps being brought up that the county needs certain growth to be able to entice businesses and growth and increase county tax base. What are your ideas and plans to help do this when large tracts of lands are coming off tax rolls or being reduced for water, farming, or conservation easements, and actually reducing the money the county is receiving?
How come we don't squeal when you walk?
Not as much body mass. I sneak up on it better than you do.
That's a fat joke, Dave.
Yeah, I got that. I got
Tolerate that.
All right. They're talking about taking off the tax roll. Water management's taking all the property they can take, not just from Glades County, Henry County, Okeechobee County. And when they do that, it goes off the tax roll. They say, oh, they're wanting to buy development rights off of it. They don't really want the property anymore, as Wilton Simpson said, but they do want the property rights. So what they're doing is they're taking our opportunity to ever have high value taxes. I was at a water management meeting in Lee County when Ray Judah was there, and I come up with the idea. It's okay, you can buy all the land you want in Glades County, but you're going to take the medium income tax rate and the high income tax rate, add all them together and divide it by 3, and that's what you'll have to pay Glades County as a stipend for eternity. And when the tax rate goes up, our stipend goes up. Because they tell you they do that, oh, we pay something. They don't. They'll pay the stipend if they think they have enough money, and in 10 years they can stop paying it. So what they're doing is basically stealing our property. They wanted to let them. They're building apartments along 75 South on the west side in a wet zone. I mean, it's a swamp. That's all that flood zone that comes down through here. Now, what they need is bad press, because they don't like bad press. And somebody told me, when you go after them, they'll get you. What can they do? They can't take my house from me. You know, I'm done. I'm ready. Let's go.
So what they're talking about is payment in lieu of taxes, and I've spoken against that many times before. I think what that we need to do is figure out that when they do a payment in lieu of taxes right now, they figured on, I believe it's almost a pasture 4, which basically puts it at $54 an acre. If they're going to put it at payment in lieu of taxes, they need to do it on a commercial space or even like a mining or whatever. When you go to mining, you know, some of these bigger places over here on 78, that is taxed at $15,585 an acre. So when you take and if someone takes a big tract of land, and let's be serious, when the governor comes in and says, we're going to take this land, there's really not a whole lot you can do, but you can try to go in there before this happens and say, if y'all are going to take this land, we'd like to work something out because you're putting us further and further in the poorhouse, and that's what they're doing. Like George said, they're building over on Corkscrew right now. You know, that was supposed to be one of the cleanest, most pristine swamps in the state of Florida. They're down there in the Everglades talking about we need to save the Everglades, but they don't want to push their houses over in Coral Springs. You know, they want to live there and save the Everglades from Moorhaven, and that's not the way to do it. So.
Part of that question was, how are we going to bring growth and businesses to this county? Honestly, the way it's looking, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it. We've got in Buckhead Ridge, we've got, or just north of Buckhead at the Okotanee, Bass Pro's coming in. Lakeport's got a big community going in. Everyone's seen all the Port LaBelle side. I mean, not the Glades County side as much as the Hendry County side, but you've seen the growth in the Port LaBelle area. I mean, there's houses going up everywhere out here. It's not going to be how you're going to get it here. It's going to be how we can control it when it does hit. We've got a lot of assets that a lot of people enjoy. We've got a major highway, US 27, running through our county. We've got the intercoastal waterway. We've got Okeechobee Lake. The tidal wave's coming. The people are going to show up. We're in the middle of one of the biggest growing booms. There's supposed to be 1,000 people a day moving to Florida. It's a matter of time before they find us. The growth is coming. We just need to get in front of it and manage it.
They're right. As the coast builds up on the east and the west, they're coming here whether we like it or not. And conservation probably isn't a bad thing to save some of our natural resources and areas, but it's what we're trying to do is what we tried to do with in the past is we went to Tallahassee and asked them, all right, you want to make us the green belt, then we want some bed tax from Orlando because you're going to take all of our land and develop theirs and let them make all the tax money and pay me for this money that this land that you're taking out of the tax rolls, give us the bed tax from Orlando. They got so much bed tax up there, they don't even know what to do with. So we have tried and pushed that. I've been talking to a little bit on the water management board, and they're finally coming to terms and saying, hey, that's not a bad idea. Maybe not bed tax, but some way or another compensate this county for what you're taking away from us. Thank you.
Do any other commissioners want to comment on that? Okay. For Sheriff Barton. Do you have the personnel to patrol in front of West Glades School if heavy truck traffic should come? Also, can your people conduct safety checks and weight checks like the highway patrol? What can you do?
To answer whether or not we have a commercial motor vehicle enforcement unit, we do not. We don't have the weights and measures ability. In fact, I'm not even sure that legally you can have. I'd have to check into that. So to answer that, as far as manpower, obviously we would be better used other places. I'm not going to say that I'm standing here dead set against a mine, but I'm certainly saying that we have something there we have to look at and really weigh whether or not it would benefit our county. Thank you.
This question is for Tico Salgado. Have you ever left your duty weapon unattended?
I think he was the only one that wasn't asked that question in Palmdale though.
So last rally, I was the only one that did not get asked that question. No, I did not leave my duty weapon at all. I was always on my side and always well protected. So.
For District 1 candidates, what is your position on the proposed mine and the big trucks passing in front of Westglade School about 100 a day? District 1 candidates.
Well, first of all, we have to get a special exception to get a mine in there. That DJ told me the other day, he said they applied for a permit, there's a permit in the courthouse. That's one thing. The other thing is it the mine or is it the school? What are we here? You know, we're worried about the mine, but it's the school zone, it's the school zone. Well, let me tell you something. If you go to school in Glades County, you've been having commercial trucks running through that school zone all the time. Now, I'll tell you something out there in Muse at Westglade, there's normally 2 SROs or 2 deputies out there directing traffic. So they ain't gonna get run over by no truck, although the mini-wheeler did try to run David Harden off the road. I don't know how many tickets he got, but he was late for work by about 10 hours. So, you know, is it the mine? Huh?
Late about 10 days.
Oh, no. No. You know, when they, get it, we'll address it. But I'm not going to address something till I have all the information in front of me. I'm not going to make decisions like that. That's a ghost decision. I mean, I'm not that person. So that's my answer.
I can't comment too much on the mine application because I am on the planning and zoning board, but I will tell you this. The ordinance that was passed, or not passed, the ordinance that is being presented to the county commission, one of the things in the first draft ordinance said that no trucks in a school zone. Well, if we say no trucks in a school zone, we need to shut down Highway 27. And then we're going to need to shut down West Avenue where they're fixing to build the new school because there's trucks up and down that road. We wrote and helped draft that ordinance as a planning and zoning board for the whole county, not just Muse. It's for the whole county. As far as the mine application or anything else, I've said before that a mine permit application had no weight or credence at this point because there was not an ordinance passed yet. And that permit application can say whatever it wants to right now. But until that ordinance is passed or not passed or however it's voted on, them plans can change a million times.
Thank you. Superintendent Barfield. Why have negotiations for coaches and club sponsors not been completed with school starting soon?
Okay, so negotiations are something that we take very, very seriously. And instead of jumping into something and not having the full gamut of what's going to happen, we wanted to make sure that we had money. We wanted to make sure that everything was in place. Right now, we are talking about the negotiations for the sponsors. It's different than the money because we're talking language. Our union president is sitting right here, and I think she would be the first to tell you. We have a phenomenal relationship with our union. It is something that when I took office 4 years ago was not there. There was no trust, and we have worked very hard in making sure that the language was very important to us. The different organizations, we were giving out a lot of stipends, and a lot of those stipends, there was not accountability in what you were to do if you received a stipend. The teachers were the ones that asked for this. This was not something that the district said, we want to put more rules on people. The teachers said, we want to make sure that we are being held accountable and held at that higher standard. They're taking care of their own because they want the best of the best also. And that's what our union has done for our Glades County. I know I've been in different counties and the union is very not thought of in a great light. In Glades County, we have an amazing relationship, and I would be able to tell you that we've worked very hard to get it to that place. But we want to make sure that everything is done correctly. So we're going to take the time to get it done correctly instead of rush through the process.
Sheriff Hardin. Governor DeSantis endorsed all of the Republican sheriffs. Why are you saying he just endorsed you? Is it true all Republican candidates were endorsed by the governor?
I can't answer whether or not he endorsed all Republican sheriffs. I do know that Sheriff Wayne Ivey, who also endorsed me, we share a lot of the same interests, and he had spoken to the governor, who named me as one of the ones that he endorsed. Whether or not he did all the other sheriffs, I could not speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Barfield. What type of social media policy to you, or will you hold your faculty and staff to?
So the social media policy, and that has come up before, and I can tell you that just being a decent human being should trump anything. So if, it's like I told someone the other day, I was explaining this. We are a school district, and every student that comes to us, it doesn't matter their religion, their race, their financial backing, whatever it is, their sexual orientation, whatever, it doesn't matter, because our job is to educate children, and we don't put out anything. And if you have a district employee that is putting out stuff that is inappropriate, then that's something that needs to be addressed. And I can tell you that it has been addressed. There has been several times when I've had to call an employee and ask, could you please come over and talk to me about this post? But it's an organization, ladies and gentlemen. It's the largest employer in the county. And at one or two times, there's going to be someone is going to make an opinion known that might not be appropriate. It is something that when you have transparency and you have accountability in your organization, it is dealt with, and that's what we're doing.
This question is for Stu Taylor and George Humphreys. What is your plan, if elected, to move economic development in a more forward movement in the county?
Let's talk about the Economic Development Council. So, a lot of people think the Economic Development Council is part of the county. It is not. It's a 501c3. It's a nonprofit organization. I'm a firm believer, if you're not in trucking business, listen, if we had trucks sitting there, trailers, and I wasn't making money off of them, they weren't going to sit there. That's not how you run a business. You don't give somebody $40,000 a year, taxpayer dollars, to bring businesses here when they're not paying for themselves long term. We've heard all the stuff about they were doing this, they were doing that, and they haven't done this, but they're bringing it. I believe that we need to look at consultants. The Sheriff's Department use lobbyists. Hell, the commissioners use lobbyists. The whole county use lobbyists. Lobbyists are a much cheaper and much more effective way to bring businesses to our county than a bunch of guys sitting on that board that have businesses in this county that will affect them if they try to bring them to this county. It's common sense, folks. I don't believe in putting my buddies on boards and leaving the boards there so they have a place to sit. You do what's right. You're working for the county. Use some common sense. It's something we don't use much.
Yes, right. Stu covered that pretty good, but we talked to two of the consultants at the Republican Party. They lobby up there all the time, and one of them said, "Look, just tell us when to start." We said, "What do we got to pay you?" He said, "You ain't got to pay me anything till I put a business in there and it opens the door." He said, "Then send me $4,000 or $5,000." I mean, that's a pretty good deal, and we have to think outside of the box. I mean, that's what we got to do, because what's been here for years is not working. And then when you get the EDC that wants to go against the school system that needed 50 feet of their own property, and they're going to go over there and fight with the school system and try and make them make money, we don't need an EDC like that. We don't need those people on board, because there's not continuity in a county like that. The school is 60 or 61 years old. They're giving us money. We needed a new school. So that's it.
Superintendent, let's see if I can read this. I see that we have a new fleet of can you hear me? Superintendent, I see that we have a new fleet of electric buses. Through a grant, paid for them, and they are free. My question is, so at no time will there ever be a reason to have to pay anything for the buses in the next 10 years? Lease is up. You either send them back or buy them outright. Either way, you are out buses or money.
So I'll just start at the top and we'll work ourselves down. So Glades County School District was a wonderful recipient of a over $5 million grant. Let me set the stage for everyone. The Glades County School District had a fleet of buses that were worn out, old, and barely ran. And only 2 of the buses had air conditioning. And as you can imagine, Glades County, with the amount of space that our students have to cover as far as ride, we had kids on buses for over an hour. And so that was on a hot bus. So we needed to do something in order to get our fleet updated. Glades County does not have a 1-cent sales tax. We do not have impact fees. So therefore, the only money that we receive are money that comes into the county that through taxes, and so we're very limited on our budget. So what do we do with this money? How do we get money to redo our fleet? Well, we had to go in and look at grants and different ways to find funding through that source. The grant was awarded. It's a $5 million grant. Now, I get it that everybody's like, oh, it's electric buses. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a political issue. It was a financial decision that was made that was for best for our county. It's $5 million in free money. Now the question, or one of the questions is, well, so at no time, do you mind if I? You can finish. Okay, so it says, so at no time will there ever be a reason to have, in 10 years, I'm assuming that the buses will be able to transition bus, and we'll be able to work into building the resources and make sure that we can replenish the buses. I can tell you that the way that the grant is written, that the buses will be able, the oil, everything that goes, the tires, the maintenance, that is all covered in the grant. So that grant encompasses everything that those buses need. Glades County did not have the money to pay for that when you're looking at over $186,000 per bus. So it was a win-win for Glades County. And when I took office, we had a fund balance of over 20%. But our teachers were some of the lowest paid teachers in the state. So we had to turn it around, and we had to make sure our teachers, we brought the teachers up from $38,000 to $51,000 for their pay. That was our first priority, was to making sure that our teachers were being paid. Second was the transportation, is to making sure that these students were able to get to school in a safe vehicle. So as far as back on by them, either way.
There's like 3 questions.
I think I answered the question, but if you wrote this question and you would like to talk to me, I have an open door policy and I'd be glad to speak to you.
Hey, candidates for sheriff. I understand some of you are working in other counties. If you want to be my sheriff, why are you not working in the county you want to serve?
I believe that question is not for me. I did leave Glaze County after 17 years because of leadership. I did go to Clewiston Police Department, did 2.5 years. I have work for you guys. I want to come back. That was the only reason. I did not leave just because I wanted to. I want to come back. I usually still participate. I don't believe that question is for me. Maybe for the other candidates.
Well, when I left Polk County, I had no plans of coming down here and working for Hendry County, or I had no plans of living in Palmdale, and I dang sure he didn't have no plans of running for sheriff. Each one of those steps were done beyond me. The only thing I can think of is God put me in this direction. So, whether I win, I'll come work for you and I'll do the best possible job I can do for you. If I don't, I am very happy working under Steve Whidden, and I'll continue on my next 4.5 years with him, and then I'll retire. If I win, I am planning on doing a 2-term. Thank you.
Very interesting question. I think we've already answered it before, but so when I got back from the military, I was working citrus inspection, and then went for a job at the Henry Correctional Facility out by Immokalee. Never thought I was going to get in law enforcement. From there, Henry County picked me up and brought me to them. And I'm one of those kind of people that I kind of stay where I'm employed at. I stayed with Henry County until they had a transition in sheriffs, in which I went to Clewiston Police Department because I was asked to also come over there and start teaching high school. And since then, I got brought back to Henry County when they wanted me to work on the Guardian program. And I've never needed to go recruit or try to go to Glades County for a job. Not to mention that, as Sheriff Harden told you and you've heard, you're some of the lowest paying deputies in the area. And I could not leave my position that I made trying to raise my family, to pay my bills, to take a pay cut to come back to Glades County, or to come to Glades County. So I've lived in Glades County for over 30 years. I have the experience, the training, and the knowledge to do well as your sheriff and make changes happen. I just got to get you to vote me in there and give me a shot, and you'll see what can happen. And I don't plan on just doing 2 terms. I plan on being there until you guys don't want me anymore. And we'll be there for the rest of the agency until I drop dead, I reckon. Thank you.
Last question. Sheriff's Office. Won't sit down, anybody. Why are our deputies not wearing body cameras? Single deputies alone is not safe.
Mind if I go first on that one?
We want a grant.
That's a very simple answer. The body camera situation is very costly to get started. And it's not so much the price of the body cameras. That's doable. There's grants out there. It's the cost of the storage for all the video footage. That is extremely expensive. When you start adding those kind of devices to your agency, it gets expensive in a hurry. That's the sole purpose. We are currently field testing a camera system that we saw in use in Baker County, and that's being tested on the road and in the jail. So that's something that we do look forward to in the future as we can afford it. As you know, we have to work with our county commission on a budget, and that budget has to be something we can all live with, unless y'all just want to extraordinarily raise your taxes, and I don't figure you do. Thank you. Is that me? Let's do the first.
Well, David, I must have a smaller mask because I haven't squeaked yet.
What can I say?
All right. So the whole thing of body cameras, up in Polk County, we had in-car cameras, which were great. Then 7 years ago, coming down here to Hendry, that was one of the first things they gave me as part of my equipment. Now, I worked in the Clewiston High School as an SRO for, I believe it was 3 years. But I've gotten, as a supervisor, they're a great tool. They're a great tool. If we have a deputy that has doing something wrong, we get a complaint we looked at and it's on that body cam, hands down, we take care of it, do what we got to do. But at the same token, we've also, I know in Hendry County, our complaint rate has dropped because people realize that everything was on that body camera. Now, getting the body cameras for Glades County, I think it's a great idea. It's a goal that needs to be out there. It's a goal we don't need to forget. Just like I've mentioned in previous rallies about a traffic unit, it's a goal. Got to take care of the basics first and then move forward from there. Thank you.
That's okay, I got more masks than you too, buddy. Okay, so when I started my career off at Henry County Sheriff's Office, we were just about the same exact size as Glades County is now. Okay, and I can tell you again, it's called leadership and outside the box thinking. All right, Henry County Sheriff's Office has body cameras, we got tasers, we've got the top line of almost any technology you can think of because you have a leader that has outside of the box thinking, that's working his budget to the best of his ability, pulling in the grants, getting the money donated from other entities. Okay, you need leadership that is not just, it's the same old, same old. I'm sorry, it's not being attacking, it's just doing, Glades County sat here and said, we're just gonna be Glades County and that's it. I've heard people running for your commission right now tell me, we like the way it is and that's the way we want it to stay, we don't want to get any bigger, we don't want to move anything. I've heard some of you citizens say you got rid of the grocery store on purpose because you don't want growth, okay? You need leadership that's going to move Glades County and prepare for the growth that's coming. It is not difficult. There's many grants and there's a lot of funding out there to get body cameras, and it keeps your deputies safe, and it also gives you, the citizens, a closed liability. Not only did our use of forces go down, but our complaints went down in Henry County. And it makes the deputy a better deputy. And then when you run in a county, if you're blessed, 2 deputies, 3 deputies on the road, that's unsafe as it is already. And now you got them out there with nothing. And those video cameras, dispatch can look at them immediately when a deputy's in trouble and give information right back to the people responding what that deputy needs. So I think it's a high priority. We have a lot of other issues like getting your agency and stuff put together and getting your bodies, but that will be definitely one of the highest priorities on my list, and we can do it. The money's there.
So in Clewiston PD, we do have body cams now. Our chief was able to get a grant, so the grant was able to cover the body cam as well as the storage. So I will be looking into the same grant that Clewiston Chief Tom Lewis looked into, and he'll be assisting me in reference to that. That way we can see if we can get body cams in Glades County. But David did make sense in reference to the budget. But one thing I am good at is numbers. I would like to see the budget in front of me and see where we go from there, and hope we can get some body cams for all the deputies.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all for coming out this evening. I'm sure that the candidates will be available if you'd like to speak with them more or ask for clarification with their answers. Thank you very much. Safe travels home.